Hello, and welcome to the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming. This is Space Station Omega. The event is called Into the Breach. For today, we've got a couple amazing gamers from the Gauntlet community. So I just want to go over a few things before we get started with our adventure today. So let me pull it up. Basically, we are part of the Gauntlet community, which is a community that supports gaming in OSR, indie, and other games. And we do this online as well as through publishing channels, the codex. And I want to find a link that had just gone away. Let me see if I can get that. There it is. Okay, so the Gauntlet Community Gaming Community Podcast Network, very much so, focuses on indie RPG story games, OSR. The website where you can learn more about this is gauntlet-rpg.com. And this open gaming is basically a free and open to anyone to try out the community. We normally have a monthly events online through Gauntlet Hangouts. And this is kind of like a convention weekend online where we invite people to run and play games and to learn more about us. And the next thing I want to cover is the safety tools. This community, the Gauntlet, uses a variety of safety tools to help make us as gamers more comfortable and more respectful of the games that we're playing together. And so some of the tools that we use include the X card, the open door policy, content warnings, tone conversation, lines and veils, and there are many others. Depending on the group, you might use script rewrite, and there might be a number of options. And these tools are here to help us to navigate around difficult areas that we may or may not want to discuss, and to focus on having a great gameplay together. Sometime soon, we will discuss which things in particular we would prefer to avoid in this game because we have the power to control our story and our script here. But I want to introduce everyone. My name is David MK. I'm the GM for today, and I have with us Sean and Will. And both of you, you're more than welcome to introduce yourself at this point. We are going to make our setting and then make our characters, and then we're going to run through a one-shot episode of that today. So I'm going to hand this off to Sean.
Hi. My pronouns are they, them. And I'm looking forward to getting into some space shenanigans today on Space Station Omega. And yeah, that's basically it.
And
Thank you.
I'm Will, pronouns he, him, and I play with the Gauntlet for a while now. And I'm looking forward again to some space stationing action.
Great. So Space Station Omega is a game that uses the Cortex Prime system. And I don't know if either of you have been paying attention to Cortex Prime over the years, but it was recently acquired by Fandom. And they just released, like 2 days ago, I think it was, a pre-release PDF that they're sending to the printers soon. And it's gorgeous and it's lovely. And the game is amazing. So my version of my rules are based on a prior version of that. So after this weekend, I'm going to be spending a lot of time reading the pre-release and adapting my game to it with the hopes that maybe this will get published sometime. But let's go ahead and focus on these wonderful players and our setting, right? So this is a collaborative world building type component that is not included in Cortex Prime specifically, but it's something that I thought would be fun when I made this game. And so what we're going to do is we have some tools set up in our online system. So we're gonna spend some time going through that and discussing and choosing options. So I'm going to move over to that folder and ask my players. So in this part, I am also a player. I help create some of the content and things, and then we basically get to play in it. So one of the first things that we're going to do is choose a station type. And Will and Sean, have you had an opportunity to glance through those 4 types yet? And is there one that's sort of calling to you?
I think I'm keen on solitary and mobile or solitary and anchored. I like solitary rather than network, just because of the narrower focus from solitary.
Mhm.
So I suppose the difference between Deep Space Nine and the Enterprise, really, when you think about it.
How about you, Sean?
Well, I'm taking a look at these options and like like for like there's like space features and there's station features. I kind of I like the like being is for space features it's a pick like like we're near like a stellar gate might be interesting and perhaps
Yeah.
perhaps near another planet like is like for one of
Oh,
those.
okay. Are
Am I
you
looking at
yeah,
what
are you okay with like yeah, are you okay with the solitary and anchored
yeah that's
option?
fine, sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's like the big canvas. And then we have the features within that.
Oh,
And
maybe I was looking
so
at the wrong
let's
thing.
no, that's fine. So okay, we have a solitary and anchored station. So if you're familiar with like say Babylon 5 or Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where there's a station that's in in a place, mostly stationary, probably orbiting something, and then the drama will take place primarily with people coming and going here. It could be a trade port or military base or something like that. So let's go ahead and look a little bit at those features within. So we have space features. It sounds like Sean has some immediate interest in these. And yeah, why don't we? Here's an idea. Why don't we have each of you, because there's pick 2, right? Uh, each of you pick one option from each of those feature things at the space features. Does that work for everyone?
Cool. So we should
Okay.
choose orbits the planet. It is
Yep.
near, and it's contending with, and Sean will choose one, and I'll choose one from each of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Cool. Well, I'm going to go for a mysterious planet, which can also be something else, I guess. Mysterious and yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah, let's see. I would say I like so he's choosing a mysterious planet. I'm gonna choose a strategic planet.
Yeah.
Mysterious and
Exactly.
strategic planet then. Yeah.
Let's see. So I am typing these into the spreadsheet, so that's why I'm delayed. Okay, and then the next one.
Yeah. Sean, would you like to choose first? Since I chose first last time.
Let's see. We just picked space features, so
Yep.
I think
Well, we're still picking space features, so we're now
Yeah,
saying
so we're basically on the next bullet point. SS,
oh, okay.
your station is near, and you get to pick 2 options.
Okay, well, I would say I want to be a near Stellagate, is what I would say.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that there is an asteroid field from where the first stellar gate collapsed.
All right. Let me take
Now,
that in.
what are we contending with as crises, I suppose, is maybe the right term. I don't know. Raiders, cosmic debris or radiation, an alien artifact or life form, war criminals or refugees. You know what? I am gonna go with war criminals.
War criminals. Okay.
I
And for
think
you, Sean?
I think I'll go with Raiders.
Raiders. Okay. That's always my go-to. Space pirates.
I mean, war criminals who have become space pirates, or space pirates who are war criminals.
Where's the line drawn in that? All
I'm a
right.
hero, damn
It's only a guideline.
Mm.
All right. Next, we have station features. And the game Space Station Omega doesn't mean that you have to call your station Space Station Omega. It's a stand-in, just and in the game it's explained why. But basically kind of off of like these stories, this station is important, right? So whatever name we give to it is totally fine. So if we call it Scorpion or I don't know, Tachyon Drive, whatever, whatever fits the tone and need, we can do that. So in the station features, the next one is the station is uniquely important for its, and then you pick 2 stakes options. So the list includes a role in a war, discovery or creation of something, a determined location in space, the ability to bring opposing factions together to collaborate, or the adaptability to various conflicts. So both of you can choose one of those each.
I'm thinking. I think I mentioned this before we started streaming, but
Mhm.
I like I
Yeah.
like role in war.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure it's going to be contested over who has the most say in that.
Hmm.
All right. So let me put that in here. And Will?
I think adaptability to various conflicts.
Okay.
Which
So
my understanding
this may not be a station for peace at this time, but it might be because it's adaptability.
Mhm.
All right. All right. Next one. The station maintains. So these are some things that the station has: a fleet of new fighter craft, a large market and trade area, a renewable water or food source, a large recreational area, a state-of-the-art medical or research sector.
A state-of-the-art research sector.
Ah,
I mean,
okay.
serious strategic planet, right?
Put that in there. What are you thinking, Sean?
I kind of want to. I think I might go with a large market and trade area.
Okay, that you're making this a very good prospect for someone to potentially take over.
Mm.
All right. And that definitely fits in with what you were saying earlier, too.
Yep,
All right.
that's my
Okay.
intention.
Now we're on. All right. So we're on the next one. Stations now plagued by, and these are crisis options, raiders, if we want to double up on that, political infighting, espionage, enemy hostilities or warfare, and interference from ancient powers.
You go first, Sean.
All right. Ooh, that's interesting. So I think I think we're. I think I want. I want to say this. I'm thinking like this is a like we're technically war hasn't broken out yet. So instead, I'll say espionage is how I'm thinking.
Okay. We can even modify that and say, what if it's like Cold War espionage?
Hmm.
Like that to me, if I say that, it's like the like something. If something goes bad, the war could very easily happen. Does that work? Or do you
Yeah,
want it to keep a little bit? Okay.
That's
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, I think especially with like if this is the pilot to our TV show, like we're kind of waiting to see if the tension kind of tips us over. All right. And Will?
Interference from ancient powers. Some sort of precursor.
Interference. You
Yeah.
want ancient powers. All
Yeah.
right. All right.
As if the
Let's
Cold
bring
War
it.
wasn't dangerous enough. And alien
So this
precursor race.
so
Yeah.
this basically justifies us having a larger budget for the special effects. um cool. Very cool. All right, then we have the then and now, which sort of helps us to anchor when this station is important in our story. And so the war was um, recent, 1 to 10 years ago, uh, terrible and costly for all sides. From that experience, the Alliance was created to help the inhabitants of the galaxy to move forward into the future with peace and cooperation. And we can definitely modify that. Or now, unfortunately, there are factions within and outside the Alliance who have grudges and agendas and will use this new opportunity to fulfill them by any means necessary. There's peace on the surface, but for many, the unresolved disputes and shadow of the war move quietly into position to act when ready. Um, to me, it sounds like we are already choosing the now. Does that seem like what we're at?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
I
we'll
have to say,
just go
like
ahead.
the unclearest bit of this process is the then and now. Like, are we choosing between then and now and
Yep.
stepping? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are like the two major because the war is kind of this important plot sort of setting piece
Hmm.
for this game. And so like are we kind of before, during, after the war sort of thing? And then I was informed by the, IPs that for each station type. But again, we can modify these things too. Okay. So I will let's see if I can get that in there. All right.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of being like, like even Babylon 5 is like several years after the war, isn't it? Kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, yeah. So the idea is like 1 to 10 years gives you a framework with where the people involved in the story are not so distant that they don't really care about the war, right? You want people who have felt the war, who have lived it, have been affected by it, and who are trying to do something about it, whether it's to continue the war or resolve the disputes. Yeah. So if we want to set up a specific time, like this is 2 years or 1 year or 6 months or whatever after the war, we can do that.
I think I would like. So I suppose is that now feels kind of like then still in this situation where we are always after the war, right? Like no matter what happens, we're not in the war really. So I'm just not sure, but
Right.
I would really like to be like uh relatively recent, and the war was like a taster of war. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a
Yeah.
huge like
Yeah.
apocalyptic war, but it was enough. It was like that
Yeah.
sort of like brief exchange. Then everyone was like, okay, 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 just back off, right? Let's just back off. Next time. Like,
Right. Yeah, there was like a scary skirmish that maybe it didn't escalate into the entire galaxy, right? Does that work?
yeah, yeah, but
Okay.
it was like that close to the button being pressed, you know?
Yeah.
Step back from the
Yeah.
match and everything.
So let me ask you then, was this station created as a result of that incident, or was this station already in existence beforehand and maybe its use has been modified?
I think I like the idea of it being modified rather than specifically created for this purpose, because that ties in with the
Mhm.
adaptability thing, doesn't it? Like, it was one
Yeah,
thing,
it does.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
after this brief conflict, like, you know, territories, like every politics, factions, everything just suddenly was like tipped in the balance, and now this station finds itself perhaps where it
Right.
was previously. There was some sort of buffer state in between, right? Maybe,
Mhm.
and now we're on the front line of the two. Our
Mm.
stellar gate,
Awesome.
our mysterious planet, whatever, is like our junction point.
All right. Does that work for you, Sean?
Yeah, it works for me.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds awesome. Really cool. So what I think we can do next. So as we define things, I'll keep adding them to our notes on the online spreadsheet. And so let's go ahead and look at our characters here, who are the stars of the show, as it were, and start thinking about them and start developing them. And so I have the keeper sheet up there. Can you both see that? Okay. So each one of you can claim one of those, and then we can go through that. So I'm going to just do like a short walkthrough of these areas. So both of you are new to Cortex, and that's totally fine. But basically, the system uses a dice pool mechanic where you take dice from different categories, you roll them together, and normally you pick the two highest numbers, right? So there's a bit of mastery to the rules in terms of what you can do with spending and gaining plot points and applying different effects. So we're basically going to drive this game at the level that we're comfortable with and add complexity as needed. It's a very scalable system, very modular system. Um, so this version that I'm using is pieces of the game. Uh, the game offers a variety of modules, usually referred to as a trait. And so in here, what we're seeing is we have like the core area has values and beliefs, it has roles and specialties, and those are all modules. So it's very easy to kind of put your game together by picking and choosing different things. So up at the top, we have your character name with pronouns. If you have an alias or a call sign, you can add that in there too. Your player name with pronouns, appearance, personality, and history. So those are pretty self-explanatory. And then below that, we start getting into the mechanics area. So these are basically the three main areas that you'll draw your dice from. There's the background, there's the core, and there's the resources. And these sort of go in priority order, and you will always build your dice pool from your background, which will be anything related to your descriptor, profession, and service. So the service is basically who are you in service to, right? So for example, if we have like a military faction and you put down there that you are a rugged uh, Marine in service to this faction, right? You're always going to be rolling a 1d8, or if you want to make it complicated and earn a plot point, you could change that to a 1d4. And then the next section in core, whenever you make a roll, and we only have you roll when there's something risky and interesting happening. I'm not going to have you make a roll to open up, your food and nuke it in the microwave or anything like that. So anything that's appropriately interesting or risky, we'll have you make a roll. So the core, you're always going to choose one from your roll. And so there's 5 roles: soldier, politician, adept, criminal, and esotericist. and one from your values. And those are duty, power, glory, justice, truth, and love. So you're going to pick, depending on the situation, which ones of those that you think are appropriate. And the values will sometimes be dictated by your beliefs in those. Okay. And those basic three things, your background, your value, and your role, will always be rolled into your pool. So you'll, at a minimum, always be rolling 3 dice and pick the 2 highest. And that's the simple version of the system. And then if there are opportunities that call for you to roll in a specialty, something that's related to, you'll add a d6. If there is something in the resource area that is appropriate, a relationship, a sector, signature asset, uh, those will also be added into your pool. So it makes your pool larger. And then the talents at the bottom, you're going to all start with 3 talent slots. There is an exception for the esotericist if you want to have like telepathy or some other space power, basically. Those basically allow for in fiction uses of changing the mechanics in the game in a way. You don't add dice, but there's a special effect that you do. So if you're familiar with, say, like fate stunts, where something cool happens, or Powered by the Apocalypse with moves, talents are similar in that way to that. If there's something that's appropriate in the fiction that you can draw on, you'll either spend a plot point or make a roll or something, and then something happens that changes the story. All right. So, any questions on that brief overview?
I suppose I think looking at my bit, we need to define sectors and factions before I can finish off mine.
Yep. So
My
we're
other
gonna,
thing is also
yeah.
a descriptive professional
Mhm.
service. I'm not sure what that would be like.
Yeah. So descriptor is basically like an adjective or something. So that if you have, like, say you have a fighter pilot in the Alliance, and then you have, say you're both fighter pilots in the Alliance, it's a way to help differentiate your character.
Mm.
So, like, laconic or rugged or brash or stalwart, or is something to kind of help define your character a little bit more. And so you can choose like a word or a couple words from your appearance and personality, if that helps.
Okay. But what's the
Yeah.
difference between profession and service?
So profession is like what sort of thing you would probably do. Like if you're a mechanic or a pilot or general or a doctor. And service is basically the group, the faction that you basically serve. And so, like, if you serve the Alliance or if you serve like the Confederate of planets or whatever, we're basically going to have these factions generated in a little bit, and you can choose which one that you serve, because part of this game is about, the political decisions. So if you're looking at something like Babylon 5, you have Earth Force, you have the Narn, you have the Centauri, and those would be very good sort of service based groups to work for in that setting. Um, so one thing I'd like for us to do is to go through, and we're going to, if you go into the folder, there is in the maps folder, subfolder, right? There's a relationship map file in the Google Drawing, and this will help us to create some connections. Now, this is going to be a little bit different than what's here because I was expecting 3 players. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be the third player, and I'll basically create a game master character. And usually when this happens, it's somebody kind of in charge typically, but it doesn't have to be. It could be someone basically who's pushing like an antagonist, right? So what I find is that in these games, having 3 strong or 2 strong and 1 weak faction really suits the storytelling. Can both of you get to that relationship map?
Yep, I'm on it.
Okay.
I can see all of the polyhedral dice.
Yeah. Awesome. So, basically, the solid lines are for beneficial connections and relationships to things, and the dotted lines are for complicated. So in this game, a D4 doesn't necessarily mean that something sucks. Mm, I want you to think about it as it's complicated. So when you assign a D4 to say one of your roles or one of your values or something else, it's less about it just being crappy and more about there's something about it that's complicated. So in this game, when you roll ones with your dice, the GM has the uh, capability to offer you plot points for those. And in doing so, it generates complications in the game. So if you have, for example, a relationship with another character that's at a D4, like what we'll have here, it's not because it's necessarily bad, but it complicates your life. Okay? So in this instance, what I think we'll do is we'll have player one, PC one, will take the darker blue purpley color. I'll put that in here. And then player two, or PC2, will take the blue. And then I will take the orange. Okay. And so here's how this is going to go. The circle with the thicker line, that is your character, right? So you can use these tools in here. And I'm just going to put in here, GM here. And then, yeah, perfect. And then Sean will have you put yours up in the thicker, brighter blue circle near the top.
The text tool is
Yep,
one
text tool.
little tiny box along the top.
Yeah.
Google Drawing is not particularly like UX
It's not
friendly, I
the
don't think.
it's not the best. It's really not. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
You might be interested in a thing called Mira, which I just use for microscope. There's a link
Oh,
to it.
cool.
There's a link to my microscope board in the Dreams section on the Discord. But
Okay.
might give you an idea of how you could use it for.
Yeah.
Things.
I mean,
It's like Google Drawings, but it's just much better and easier. And
I'll have to look into that, definitely. Thank you. Okay, so now that we've basically got our characters figured out what these paths are, and this is actually, there's something called Pathway in Cortex Plus, which came out of, or Cortex Prime, which came out of Cortex Plus, from the game called Smallville, which was based off of the Clark Kent, Superman CW show. And then Cortex was also used for Firefly, for Marvel heroic role playing. So it's been used with a lot of IPs. And each version has been customized to that setting, to that sort of story that you want to tell. So that's what we're working on here, is a simplified version of that to give us connections with each other. And so these shapes, the round ones are about characters, relationships. The triangles are about events. And then the diamonds are about talents and sectors. Okay. And we have creative liberties here, obviously. So basically, what we would normally do is I'll say, okay, as my character, the GM character here, I have a beneficial relationship with Silas, right? So I see that solid arrow going off to Silas, and Sean's character has a beneficial relationship to me, right? And I have a complicated relationship with Sean's character, and Silas has a complicated relationship with me. And Silas has a beneficial with Sean, and Sean is a complicated with Silas. Does that idea make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So these relationships are asymmetrical. Okay. You don't have to have it be reciprocal. So, for example, I could have a beneficial relationship with Silas and say that maybe he gives me intel on something on a regular basis for whatever reason, right? And then maybe his complicated relationship is that maybe I cause problems for him for paperwork. And I'm just going off the idea that you were thinking of playing an investigator type character, or that maybe I'm a bad influence on you, and we go drinking when we should not be drinking. So it doesn't have to be related to the specific same relationship structure. It's more open than that. But if it's easier to go with that, that's fine too. But basically, my relationship to Silas would be a D8, and then his to mine would be a D4, right? So if you engage interactions with me, it's probably going to be complicated for you and beneficial for me. And that kind of displays the power dynamics in relationships to an extreme, obviously, because this is a dramatic show. Um, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we hate each other or that we love each other. It just means that it it's more challenging. Yeah, exactly. And then what that triangle there, that event triangle means is that basically there's some history there, right? There's an event that we would label whatever. And we don't necessarily have to spell it out right now. It's something that we can do flashbacks to. It's something that we can refer to as like, remember that thing, right? And like in Fate and other games where they have like you kind of learn the game through like a short story with that character connection, that is when we would generate the talent related to that sort of short story. So it gives you like more of a contextual relationship for some of your things, like your talents, versus just like picking from a list. But for one shot, since we don't have a lot of time, some of this we're going to be very quick with and not worry too much about. This game really works much better long term, has been my experience. Um, but I do really enjoy like what Cortex Prime brings in terms of developing relationships and stronger story arcs as a result of this. Um, and then so the sector that is not connected to the triangle, that's the sector, that is the location in or around the space station. And so we're generating these locations by doing this. And then the thinner circles are GMC characters. So they're basically non NPCs that we generate to kind of flesh out the station or the surrounding area as well. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah. I think as much
Okay.
as it will to
Exactly. Yeah. So what we can do is we can either fill in ideas and then make up the relationships as we go, or a combination of those two. What what I think I'm going to do just to kind of show you is I'm just going to start populating some of these, and we can figure out if that works. So I'm just going to basically fill in all of my spots. I What I'd like for us to do is kind of get this part done in about 3 to 5 minutes, if possible.
Okay.
And I don't want us to over stress any specific relationship because it may or may not come up much today.
Hmm.
And so I would hate for us to spend like 20 minutes on a really cool story about a location and we never visit it. All right. So if you have a sense for roughly what kind of character type you have, just go with it for right now, okay? So Silas, you're thinking of an investigator still for
I
him?
think I've made my character complete.
You're basically done.
Yeah, I
Sean,
just have to go to the beliefs and relationships.
yeah, that's
and
great.
yeah.
Sean, do you have a sense for what kind of character you're interested in playing for this? Oh, I'm looking at it. Okay. Sean, I think you're muted.
Right. But yeah.
So what kind of character are you thinking?
I was thinking of like I'm doing like sort of war hero, and it's just I put politician D10, soldier D8,
Mhm.
for roles, and it's like kind of just kind of like used to be a soldier, but now is a politician, and like is sort of dealing with whatever is like kind of dealing with whatever situations going on on Space Station Omega.
Mhm.
It's a
That's awesome.
Classic
Yeah.
Republican, basically. Like, what the Republican Party likes to think of itself as rather than what it really is. Yeah, military background.
Are they a figurehead or are they actually in charge?
I
That's cool. All right. So I'm gonna basically we have a soldier template and a and an adept template, I think. Yep. So no, wait, politician template. Yeah, the war hero. So politician. So I think what I'm gonna do, when in doubt, choose criminal. All right. Let me take a look here at my options.
Yeah, the politician / soldier and an adept /
Yeah.
criminal.
Yeah. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I gotta play. You know what that means? I have to play the fixer, the criminal / politician. Close the triangle.
Hmm.
All right.
The dark mirror of both of us.
what?
Shady politician.
I gotta make everyone's lives better. All right, I'm gonna just copy if it'll let me. Copy
So
that.
for like if you're when choosing like a talent, like I'm seeing like I'm looking at like ambassador right now, and I'm seeing like
Yeah.
there's like a few things here, and it's like, are these all like do we choose all of these under one talent? Like I see ambassador, and it's like
right. So let me. I don't think you were on the call when I talked to. Will convinced me to change something, which is totally fine. So the default for your primary and secondary roles, your D10 and your D8, would be to choose the first talent in that list. So for adept, that'd be tools of the trade, that sort of thing. For politician, it would be ambassador. But what we're going to try today is to say you can choose one of those, any one of those from that role list. So if you don't want to choose ambassador for your politician role, right, you can choose a different one from the politician talent list. Same thing for soldier. If you don't want to choose the first one that's listed there, you can choose any within the soldier talent list. For your third talent, you can choose one from your primary, so a second primary, or one from the open talent list. Does that make sense, Sean?
right. Well, what I'm wondering is like I'm seeing like like I think like I'm good with I'm good with ambassador. What I'm just wondering is like I'm seeing a few things like it's like I'm seeing a few dot arrows and it's like is this all like there's a whole lot of text under ambassador. Is like is this it? Do I select one of these options for ambassador? Or is it like all? I don't.
I
Let
think
me
it's
let me
like,
go over there.
it's like Checkpoint Midnight, where you have like choose one of these, one of 7 to 9, choose one, choose two, kind of thing. Like you can do all of
Yeah.
those the move.
Oh, you mean like the or add 1d6 or spend 1 plot point? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about, Sean?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
So you get that entire list under ambassador. So when you go and use that talent, you get the option to choose one of those things below, depending on what you think would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that talents are basically there to modify the rules depending on the fiction. So in instances where you think, oh, I want to attack someone politically, right? That might be the thing you do, but you don't actually add any dice. You just use your deal action in your negotiation with them. Basically, leveraging your political power on someone is another way that you can attack someone in this game.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to this map and let's see here what I want to do. I'm going to be playing the criminal fixer type. Okay. So when you get to this point, you're going to each have a specialty, one specialty in your primary and one specialty in your secondary role. So this is kind of just up to you just to come up with an idea. So for example, if you had a soldier D8, like a secondary, you could say firearms D6 or tactics D6 or something like that.
So that's just 2 specialities, each of
Yeah,
one
each. Yeah, one for your primary, one for your secondary. So I'm choosing, actually, I'm choosing bribery for my politician one. And get out of jail for my criminal one. Actually, I'm going to, yeah, that's fine. See how that goes. I'm going to actually reverse those. Let's do that. That makes more sense. Okay. Now, man, I like them where they were. All right. Okay.
in terms of values. So like,
Mhm.
I go D10 for justice, and that justice is
Mhm.
the most important thing to him.
Sure.
Truth D8. D6 for duty. D6 for love. D6 for glory, and a D4 for power. If I am understanding that power is the seeking power kind of thing, rather than that right?
Yeah. So the power. So if you put like a D4 in power, that means whenever you go to your power, right, your value, it complicates your life.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's right. I think this investigator pisses a lot of people.
Yeah,
Dedicated
right.
to
That
justice
brings a
and
lot
truth.
of trouble.
Yeah.
So like if your character gets into a situation where you might be dying or in critical help, um, in this game, love is an important value for that. Like, will someone save you? Will you make it through? Okay. So some people might treat love as like a dump stat. So I just want people to be aware of that. If you want it to be complicated, like maybe you like tick people off with your personality so much that no one wants to help you, right? The other thing in this game is that your values shift if you challenge them. So if you're in a situation where you think that you're kind of acting or want to act in opposition to your belief or your value, for that role you triple it. So say you had like a d6, you would roll 3d6 in that role, and after that you would drop it down to a d4 and increase a different value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at the end of the game, you would normally go through and do what's kind of like a tag scene where you assess your growth. And if there have been, like up there, you see challenge. If you've challenged anything, that actually gives you some more growth opportunity because you're changing as a character. Yeah. So some people play it and they rarely challenge theirs, and other people challenge it all over the place. They go drama head in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Just a quick thing. So for the
Yeah.
third talent, we can pick it from either
Mhm.
politician. For me, I
Yeah.
can choose from either politician or soldier. Was it?
Or open. Politician or open.
Okay.
Yeah, so way over on the left, there are talents which are open to everybody different.
Yep.
There's that third space, basically.
I see. Okay.
So I think, like I say, I'm done with Silas, who is a cynical investigator who has found himself on the
Mhm.
station. I think perhaps prior to the war and in following the war, he would help people find the missing or criminals and so
Yeah.
forth, and
Yeah.
has fallen in on the station because it is, a place that now a lot of former suspects, missing people and so forth might turn up on, and perhaps he's even got a steady job on the station security side of things as well.
Yeah, totally.
I am like completely thinking Miller from The Expanse in terms of like that like cynical
Totally.
idealism, like deep down a sweetheart, but really it's all of that front is just because he's a wounded idealist.
Yeah, idealist plus another idealist makes for a lot of trouble. Thanks, Holden.
Yes. Least interesting character in The Expanse is James Holden. Hands down.
Yeah, he's yes. Okay. I know this is the most exciting thing to watch as a viewer of games like this.
So for the so for descriptor profession service, that's like just that's just sort of like kind of our a little bit of personality or kind of I don't know, affect or whatever. You know, you I see you put smooth, Silas put cynical, so
Yeah, something to help guide it. It's if you're familiar with Fate at all, there's something called a high concept aspect that summarizes your character very quickly. And that's kind of what we're going for, like the core of your character. And if you do growth at the end of the episodes, or maybe after several episodes, you might figure out my character's not really like that anymore. You can change that. And to reflect where you are. Like Miller at the beginning to Miller were at the end was he didn't change a lot, but I think he did change some. He was he actually had a family at after a while in the show. I've only read the first book, so I can't speak to the books. But that's a good way to sort of just sum it up and just say this is my character at a glance. All right, so I'm going to go down here and think about. I have a beneficial relationship with Silas. So what? Let's see. Would Silas do the occasional off the radar jobs for Gloria?
Yeah, I think so. And so far they've been tasteful enough.
All right.
I mean, Miller runs jobs for the I can't remember what they're called. The rim, the outer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alliance, yeah, the OA.
Like this is I'm thinking of jobs similar to what in the show he was asked to do for the rich family. Like unofficial jobs.
Yeah,
You're like the go-to guy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm good at what I do. So in demand from people who, the good work doesn't pay as well, right? So
All right. And then let's see here. And then let's see. I have with gruff politician. Awesome. Duran. So are we all playing humans? I forgot to go over the alien human thing. Are we all just going to assume that it's a human galaxy like in the expanse?
I'm fine with that.
yeah,
Like,
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm fine if the aliens exist and we're just not, the main, because it costs a lot to put
Well,
people in makeup, right? So like,
it does,
the
and
main
they
cast
complain
is
about it. Well, we have ancient powers. Those will be like the special effects things.
there what we used our entire budget on.
Exactly. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do for my complicated relationship with Duran. Okay. So, red tape. That's what I'm going to call it. All right.
And I have a beneficial relationship with Duran, which I'm going to say is you know what? I'm going to go with trust, because I trust Duran to be Duran. Whether or not Duran wants the same things I want is a different story, but I know that whatever Duran tells me is probably what Duran means, which is a good, it's beneficial to know where you stand, right? Like,
So for my beneficial sector, I'm going to choose the marketplace.
I think for like Gloria, I might put like, you're also like Gloria's, from what I can see, is a politician. So I might say like, I might like put like reliable as like.
Awesome.
I'll put that as like that as my D8.
So
I'll choose the docks.
There you go.
Okay.
So I might put for Silas for relationships if it's okay with you, like I might put like lots of paperwork. You tend to cause you give Duran plenty of headaches and whatnot, and
Yeah.
from like your line of work.
Yeah, because I'm always like, we need to get this extradition sorted. Like, I know it's a legal grey area.
I love
He needs to
love
get
that.
shit back.
I love that because for Duran, I put red tape for him because there are always these rules in the way.
Yeah, I generate work for you, and that work then impedes. Yeah. In terms of beneficial sectors and complicated sectors, can I choose the market as my complicated sector, or do they need to be something different? Okay.
No, that's great for when characters interact there, and one of them is uncomfortable, and the other one is just having a wonderful day.
Yeah, it's just when I look at the relationship map, my I see. I think I see. That middle, that top orange diamond will be the marketplace. Is that right? Unless if it's your benefit.
Yeah. Let me just go ahead and put that in there. Yep.
Which means that my left will be. The middle one, I suppose. The docks, would that be right? Or the left-hand one? I suppose it depends on what Duran chooses.
Yeah.
It's that
so
then loops back on itself that makes me confused. Like it goes up to the
so like the other two squares are the sectors. So if you choose a positive one, you would put that in there. If Duran chooses a positive one, and then we can connect to those as potential complicated ones.
Okay.
So I have a fallback one in case there's usually like a memorial site of some kind. So that could be a positive for someone. It doesn't have to be, and I can totally change it for me. So I'm just waiting to see what other sectors are put in so I can. Yeah, so you have docks there. Yeah, so potentially docks could be complicated for Duran.
And if not, I can just move it over to that other one over here on the top left, perhaps.
That would be your talent, actually.
Oh, that'd be a talent. Okay.
Yeah, that you had picked up during your event with Duran.
Oh, I see. One of the three ones that I have there, kind of thing. Ooh.
Yep. Any of those.
I can see a former soldier turned politician, an event. I can see that definitely happening.
So for the for like sectors, where are we choosing for that from? Like,
yeah, so basically you on the options from when we generated the station information, those options, but you can also choose something that would be realistic or possible that could be on the station. So we can generate things that were not mentioned too. So like, for example, if you look at the relationship map, Silas has docks. And so if you look at the connection there, by default, Duran would have a complicated relationship to the docks based on where it is. And so whatever beneficial sector you put in for Duran would be complicated for my character.
all right. Okay, I see. So for docks, we can maybe say like for Duran, it's like new people are coming in. It's like we're not sure who's trustworthy because we didn't choose on espionage, so it could be like spies could become like
right,
show.
like exactly, like you can phrase it however you want, but your relationship to the docs is different than his relationship to the docs. Yeah, exactly. Like security, weakness or vulnerability might be an option for that. Because you have to have the docs open for the trade, and this is an important trade hub we've established. So then whatever sector you put in there for yours will be complicated for my character.
Right.
So I decided that the docs are beneficial for Silas because the new faces, he's good at looking over people like that, like the flow of people.
Yeah.
The market is complicated because of the black market that exists beneath it. He's maybe not necessarily got a problem with a lot of it, but it certainly puts it in a bit of a awkward position.
Well, yeah, I put down for the market. It has what I crave.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to see if I can quickly get my talents taken care of. Okay. Choose that one. Actually.
Okay, I think I got an idea. So I think it may be for like my for like sectors. I think I might for my like not complicated one, beneficial one. It might be like I'll have it'll be like like natural defenses of sort, like the station's like it has like a planet that's like nearby that's a strategic thing. It could also just be like it's sort of a bit of a natural defense from that area. We have an asteroid field, so there's sort of like it's hard to attack this station sort of, and it's also it's so like I might put for mine like just like it just like well defensible sort of might be my thing.
So what we're looking for is an actual location. So it could be the asteroid field, like a set piece where we could actually go and have a scene at. And then, yeah, these are giving us ideas for locations to interact with each other at. And the asteroid field would be a really good one because it's the only one that's not in the station, and we've already established that it's the field's from a destroyed prior gate, right? And that would work. If that works for you, that works for me too. Because, for example, I could say that maybe Gloria had someone that she cared about that was killed in that explosion. So it's complicated because it's, maybe unresolved feelings. Maybe she might even think that it's haunted. Any number of possibilities exist.
Right.
So yeah, we're looking for a location for interesting character interaction.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Politician. Okay.
Okay, I think maybe instead I might change mine. It might be instead of
Mhm.
like the asteroid thing. Maybe it'll be we have that we established we have like that really advanced like uh medical like bay and research area. Maybe that's just like sort of like kind of like we have like the trade, but that's the one other big thing. They sort of like puts this station as like such a
Yeah,
important
yeah.
thing.
So yeah, so Will chose the state-of-the-art research sector rather than the medical one. But yeah, totally,
Oh,
state-of-the-art
oh,
research sector
yeah,
would be
research.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can definitely come up with a reason why that would be complicated. Perfect. Let's change this. On my sheet, I'm just going to call it R&D to be shorter, so I don't have to type as much. And I'm just going to put down R&D 1D for drugs as my complicated for that. Okay. All right. So when you have an opportunity, once you've gotten everything else done, go ahead and change, like fill in your beliefs for your character.
Did we decide like on stuff like for the faction stuff?
Mhm.
Like have
Yeah, no, we haven't explicitly named them, and we can definitely do that.
yeah, because I feel like with
Yeah.
beliefs that would come
Yeah.
in for
Okay.
me at least.
Yeah.
Especially
So
yeah.
yeah. So let's go around the table, as it were, and just generate, some of these core factions. So Sean or Will, do you have any factions in mind?
The Lunar Crescent.
How do you spell that?
Like Luna or Crescent?
Okay, Luna Crescent. Got it.
Yes.
We're just looking for names right now. Like
Yeah, we're looking for basically groups of people that would be politically powerful and influential. Luna Crescent.
And the Lunar Crescent are Criminal Syndicate.
Okay, so we have a crime syndicate. All right. And then we mentioned war criminals as one of our space features. Is there a group for them? Like, are they as a collective name?
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a great idea. They're kind of like boys from Brazil type thing. Tarnished.
There you go. Okay. And then, Sean, did you have any factions that you had mentioned some before we started?
right.
What names are you thinking of for that?
I think like something like it might be called like like it might be called something like it might be called something like the Alliance the aligned systems of Elaborium is something. So
And how do you spell that last word?
I would just put like I would say ALANE, and like Borean sounds kind of how you pronounce it, like
Okay.
BOREAN.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're
Are they the military or the economic power ones?
I would say that's the economic power one. That like beforehand they were just like they were called the aligned systems because originally they were like kind of like all sorts of very small factions. They were in kind of close proximity to each other, and then like it's a bit like a think of like Germany, like back in like the like early 1900s or late 1800s, where it's like they're just a bunch of small powers, and then they form to become one of the most massive, the most biggest superpowers there is, basically. And they like serve through that and first like working through agreements and whatnot. They're becoming like they are rising as like this huge economic power, and they are like maybe the second and biggest like powerful faction right now.
Awesome. And then we said, is there a military faction out there besides the Tarnished? Or do we want the Tarnished to be that for the sake of this episode?
In terms of the Tarnished, I kind of imagine them more as like perhaps not
like
if they're the like war criminals kind of thing. They're like
like an offshoot, like a terrorist cell or something. Yeah. Well, freedom fighter, terrorist, whatever.
Yeah, or perhaps only really associated by their desire not to be brought to justice for their crimes, kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think, we have the alliance systems of Borean, and I think we've had a war, right, that went hot, probably very briefly, probably in reaction to the alliance's growing economic and militaristic power. So we have to have something else, which would be the Krytos Republic. And I will just type that in. I think now that I say it, Krytos was the name of a alien targeting plague that the Empire released upon the people of Coruscant in the X-Wing books.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, the Krytos plague.
Oh my gosh! That is horrific.
Now it's the Republic, and
where are you typing this in at?
The factions.
Okay, it just popped in there. Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
When you're both editing a field at the same time, it doesn't quite. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm going to say that's like a kind of long-standing, like a fading hegemony. Like
sure. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So let's see. Are there any gaping blanks? Let's see. So if there's like a signature asset or something you're not sure about at this point, some people just decide on that during the game if they need something useful that they haven't thought of, that's important to their character. So some people it's their weapon, some people it's an assistant like an attaché, or and I generally try to get that to be more of a relationship resource than a signature asset, because the relationships really do serve for those sort of human connections. But if you have like a ship or something like that, put that under your signature asset. It's basically something that can be taken away, like a tool or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to put in there datapad.
I'm going to change it from a modded pistol. Do you know what it is? It's just a kit badge. It's like badge that marks me out as one of these independent, like non-affiliated
Yeah.
policemen. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah. So in Cortex system, it's not very granular. It's very wide sweeping. And so if you have something that we would expect you to have, you have it.
yeah,
And it's only when it's dramatically important when dice are assigned to it. So if it makes sense that you have a weapon, you have a weapon, but you don't add any additional dice for that unless it's like, this is my special, cool, you've seen this weapon with me a ton of times sort of thing. Yeah, so the badge makes perfect sense. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of go through and whip through my beliefs. And then I think I'll be ready with my GMC. And if everyone else, yeah, looks like Sean's doing a great job over there. And then we can get started soon. If we need to take a quick bio break or something before we get going, we can definitely do that.
in terms of belief, could I say, for example, like I am most loyal to victims because no one else is, kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So your duty, you can define that, like, is it to your superior? Is it to your family? Yeah. That's awesome. Mine is going to be to the highest bidder. Totally mercenary here.
I'm actually going to change around my glory and my D4 to power because of the way the beliefs are. Because the beliefs are sort of built up.
So we both have a complicated glory.
Yes.
See, I cannot
I think we all have a
share.
complicated glory. We've
Do
all
we?
chosen glory as our D4, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. I cannot go public about anything I do because it's complicating. I can't talk about my work life with anyone. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to go with Duran is most important because this station would fall apart without him.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, another thing. When you challenge your relationships, you have the option of, after they get stepped down temporarily, to rewrite them. So your beliefs can change too as a result of challenging them. So, for example, if Duran changes, and doesn't work out for you, that could change too.
I deserve to find the tarnished because they hurt people. Okay, I think I'm done.
So if I put I'm thinking for justice, I might put like Duran deserves to be like elected to maybe a higher office or something because this job it's very taxing on him. Is that something that makes sense for justice? On a
For which value?
justice
Um,
for the
so if you think about,
police.
yeah, you deserve. Well, justice is often about like fairness, right? Laws, fairness, what you deserve. So if you feel like you've been put in an unjust position and you think I deserve to be somewhere else because like maybe someone assigned you here, or I mean it's your call how you want to define that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I guess it was just like it has like I deserve to be. So I'm trying to like figure out like
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, so like
Yeah, I think
that
maybe.
sense of that
Sorry.
sense of entitlement often fits better under glory or power, but it's your call.
Right. Okay. Well then.
Yeah.
I do
Or
think that phrasing of the justice one is
Yeah, that's what I'm.
make it more about like your just desserts, rather than like the quality
sure,
of this
Yeah.
kind of like
sure.
what the self-interest. It does seem to invite that self-interested.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
I
Yeah.
think I think maybe like if it'd be okay if it could just
Yeah.
I might like just put like I might just switch like what
Mhm.
the sentence for glory and the sentence of justice and just switch those because I put I am here to defend the
Yeah.
station
Yeah.
to solve
Go
the
for it.
war.
Go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
think that okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if I went, I think if I played this again, I'd probably go like very hard on the horrible person angle, and it'd be like, I deserve to die because of the things I've done, kind of thing. Like,
no, we're
yeah,
not yet.
no,
That's like session 3 or 5.
yeah.
Okay.
I think we're scheduled to stop at 6, right? Like, is that right, or 6:30? Maybe.
We're scheduled to stop in about an hour.
Yeah, cool. Just wanted to say I can go maybe like half an hour extra, just because of the set.
Okay. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, I can go on for my schedule is pretty free so I can do like as long as we want but like extra half an hour, sure.
I've got a game
Okay.
in an hour after that, basically. So I want to have half an hour game. Yeah.
And obviously, if something comes up, you can leave earlier too. That's fine.
Yeah. I do think.
Okay.
I know this is to test the mechanics and things, but I do think in terms of a one shot, maybe having a station and some factions would be like hit the ground running kind of thing. Like you can make that your characters your own, but you would have the framework to build them right off the bat. So
yeah,
I think obviously if we all knew Cortex Prime, this would take about like that as well. So.
All right. My character's ready. Is everyone else okay?
Yeah, I can fill in the gas while we play
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah,
okay.
Mine is other than those last events of like what I guess would be GMC and event kind of thing.
Yeah, and we can create those on the fly too.
Cool.
I think we mostly have the characters here.
Yeah.
And like when I've run this before too, I've created basically like pre-gens and things like that as well. So I've changed a few things, and I've never run this online before. So that's been interesting to see how that works. So thank you for going through it with me. Okay.
If we can play it all, I still have enjoyed building this story. Like, I would still be happy
Yeah.
with that.
Like I just I ran like a quick one shot with one player at a local convention, and we left him off at such a cliffhanger. Like it had been so like stealthy, like almost like a heist. He was playing like an inspector character too, investigator character, and then suddenly like the last scene got brutal, and he was left dying on the floor without his query. Like we had no idea what was going to happen next. Like, well, that was different. And we're like, yeah, we want to know what happens next. I'm like, yeah.
The number of
Okay.
unfinished stories I
So
have in the gauntlet is crazy.
does anyone need like a bio break or refreshment refill or anything like that?
Grab another drink, and then I'll be back.
Okay,
So, I'll
cool.
be back on the
All
app.
right, then we'll get started. Awesome.
Let's. So looking at the relationship map again, this was the
Yeah, the R&D. Yeah. Yep.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's perfect.
yeah. Well, so for it, we have like event, and there's also
A talent. Yeah, so whichever, like if we were to play through these little events, there'd be like kind of like a short adventure between you and that PC, that other PC, like, and we wouldn't even need to run it. We could just even describe it.
right.
But for our purposes, we would probably like refer to it as in like a flashback format. But yeah, if you want to talk over with me or with Will or someone and say, hey, what do you think about this? And it could have been like you're establishing a relationship sort of scene, or it could just be like something that happened that really has stuck with you, and from that one of your talents emerged or was prominent at that point.
All right. I was thinking, maybe, so we're talking about like these factions that are like about to go to war,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a war beforehand. It was like a sign of things to come. Maybe it was like there was going to be like a like it's sort of I'm thinking like sort of World War I, where it's like there's a bunch of there's the big factions, but there's also those smaller factions, and because of all the trees and whatnot, it ends up being it ends up being like a if like these small countries go to war, all the big countries are gonna get in and on it too, and it's gonna cause a huge just a huge war, and like that was sort of avoided. It like there was a small war, but like in the end, like maybe like there was a small war, but in the end, like it didn't become much worse than that, sort of. And like I think like that would like maybe Durand was a part of that. He like maybe it was something like right before it got started. It was like, okay, instead of you got like one of the maybe the alliance systems, like one of their allies was going to attack someone, and the original tree was if we attack someone, you attack someone with us, and it's like, no, we're not gonna do that. You're gonna get us killed. So instead, we're gonna, if they attack you, we'll back you up. But we're not gonna go to war just because you decided to go to war, sort of thing. And that was like,
Mhm.
maybe something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's very flexible what we can do here.
Cool. I got my my Bloody Mary, so I'm all ready to go.
Gloria approves. So as we need it, we can generate those GMCs that we have relationships with too. It's not as important right now. So I think we're pretty much ready to go. I just want to move this over. So there. There we go. Okay. So let me get back here. And good. So what I typically do is I frame the scenes much like a TV show or a movie. And it's kind of recommended in the rules too, because that's just the way the system, like I said, is kind of broad, not very granular. So basically we're going to have like an opening scene, and then we'd have like the credits, the name of the show and all that stuff. And then when we come back, we kind of like dive into like, so what's your character doing? What's going on? So let me look at our notes again. And Duran, are you in charge of the station, or are you like part of a group of people that are in charge of the station?
He's in charge of like the defense of like the station, and sort of also a little bit of it. His role is sort of twofold. He's kind of in charge of like, he's in charge of the defense, but he's also sort of in charge of like the diplomatic side of things. Like, this is basically if the what do we call the war faction again? Like
the Krytos Republic.
Or the alliance systems of Boreum.
Yeah, that's the economic one. The military one is the Krytos Republic.
Okay, the Kryos Republic. Yeah, the Kryos Republic. Like, is it like, I was thinking like, if the Kryos Republic ever like attacks specifically this station, Duran, that's where Duran comes in as sort of like a like, he's in charge of preparation in case of that scenario, and he's like gonna try and like, he would try to like both avoid it and try to reduce any harm that happens if that does happen,
Cool.
So that's
cool.
When war breaks out, you're going to have emergency powers suddenly and take over
Yeah.
the entire day. Until war breaks out, you're just one part of the station. I like it.
Yeah, I like
Perfect. So why don't we just do a quick, have everyone kind of go through their character, just like what do they look like, and read through their beliefs. And we don't have to go through all the mechanical aspects, but do mention like your primary and secondary role. If there's anything else that you want to stress, that's fine too. I think that most of our relationship sector discussion has already been recorded. But let's kind of give like the audience like, okay, we're going to get a sense for who these characters are. Then we'll jump into the opening scene.
Sure.
So who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, go for it, Will. Yeah.
Cool. So Silas is an investigator. He is a wiry, disheveled, like it looks as though he's trying to put in the effort to put on his like whatever sort of formal dress that he's supposed to wear and things like that. But somehow it always looks as though it's been kept in the bottom of a suitcase for 3 months by the time he's done wearing it for 5 minutes. And yeah, he is He is quite cynical, but he is very, very driven to pursue higher goals, more loftier ambitions, and humanitarian, really, at the end of the day. So he is a cynical investigator for the station. Formerly, I think in the wake of the war, was part of this non-partisan group called the Justicars, who seek to enforce some kind of, agreeable level of human rights, justice, and punishment across the galaxy. But yeah, his journey has taken him here to the station where the Tarnished are an issue, and now he has taken on reluctantly, I think, the role of station security, the investigator, the inspector, in fact, the station inspector. As part of the contract. And yeah, he is driven by that whole sort of wounded idealism. He is loyal to victims because no one else is. The only thing that gives me authority is justice, and that gives me I can do what's right no matter what. And he's here to work because it needs to be done. And that basically he's willing to bend the rules as long as it doesn't cross his code. Like the laws of the laws and regulations come secondary to what he thinks of as the metaphysical truth of the universe, which is that bad people get away with things and good people suffer. And I'm here to make that balance slightly better.
Awesome. All right. And Sean? Are you muted?
Forgot that again. Duron Treed is a formerly a soldier until negotiate until sort of help maybe eventually got it was eventually wounded to the point wounded and then received higher station and whatnot. Eventually start did that the treaty I mentioned that helped avoid the escalation of the previous war a few years back.
Yeah.
Then and has been sort of kind of a bit of a rising star in politics, and has now been giving this incredibly difficult job of this station, which is almost certainly going to be a target of the Republic. So he's been sent here to get it ready to be defended and to try and again avoid war as much as possible. And it's a difficult job. He's been dealing for the past let's say the past month or so. He's been dealing with have to deal with spies and whatnot, and the bureaucrats of the station. And you say you suffer from a bit of red tape because of Duron, but Duron's been dealing with kind of something similar with these with some of the officials of the space station, and he's kind of got this a bit of a he was in the military, so he's got a bit of he is kind of the stereotypical blockhead sort of look to him and whatnot, kind he's gruff, but he's also very haggard because it's just it's a very taxing job.
I like the idea that maybe his straight talking, militaristic, kind of by the book, god damn it kind of style. And now he's in a complicated situation where his by the book, straightforward style is completely making it an uphill battle for him to get anywhere, because he's so god damn it, that's what we have to do, and everyone else is like, you mate.
Yeah.
By the way, we are now an explicit podcast. No, yeah, because in politics you can't just you can't just be gruff, do everything the way that I want to do it and get your way. Yeah, this is different. So I imagine that Duran maybe looks a little older than he probably is, both
Right.
from like his military service and probably from all the stress from taking on working at the station.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
He's like you're like like you all the pictures like people saw of him before like he before like becoming a politician. He had like he was young, kind of like a nice sheeny like black hair, and like now
Hmm.
it's like it's kind of a it's a it's a gray was it like it's mostly gray and maybe some
Hmm.
maybe like black. There's still like maybe a little black in his beard or whatnot, whatever. But it's still like being politi- who would have thought that it wasn't being the soldier that's like killing him, it's the politician
Right.
stuff.
Right. Right. That's awesome. Uh, so like I guess I'll go over my character. So because we don't have a third player technically, I am filling in to kind of create that um, pushing antagonistic sort of connections. But it sounds like what we've been describing so far, like all three of us might even like hang out at the bar occasionally together and just sort of like drink our grapes away. So my character that I'm playing is Miss Gloria Fontaine, and she's been hired by dubious connections to solve problems here on the station. She's a very professional, well-to-do appearance, very well dressed, very friendly and open to meeting all sorts of people. Uh, Probably fairly attractive for many. I imagine her with like thick black hair pulled back most of the time, and blue eyes, and sort of like a sort of brownish complexion, maybe, and looks to be maybe in her late 20s or early 30s. And basically, she's a smooth consultant for the station. And her beliefs are that she's most loyal to the highest bidder because only money matters. Her position gives her authority to do what needs to be done. She's here to help the powerful because they need her. Uh, the tarnished must pay because of what they've done. The Alliance and Republic keeps me going because war is profitable. And Silas is most important because he understands my world.
And I also am seeking those tarnished people as well. So
We've got a lot of overlap there. Um, and so she's a fixer. Like she helps the rich and powerful get what they want. And that's why she's here, and what keeps her going. And let's see, I'm going to look at this relationship map. So basically, with the relationship map, uh, she gets what she craves from the market. She has a complicated relationship with the research facility that is very strong here because of drugs. And what I'm saying about that is I think that she has a physical condition that requires her to continue use drugs for something. Uh, and yeah, she basically is working to help anyone and everyone that needs it, and she's willing to do almost anything to make sure that that happens. Um, and so what we have now is we have our main characters, and um, I'm going to basically start describing the opening scene. And this is a collaborative thing, so we can jump in and help narrate some things too. But here's here's what I'm seeing. The show opens space, and we see this mysterious planet in the background, right? And the light from the stars, and then we see the shape of something. It's the stellar gate. We don't know how it works yet or exactly why it's here. And then basically the camera pans over and we see the station. And normally when we do this, we would draw the space out on the map and we draw the station out. But we've been taking a fair amount of time already, so we're going to kind of skip that for now. And so we see the station glistening, out over there with the light shining off of it. And then what we see coming from the asteroid belt that's kind of on the other side is we see a small fleet of ragtag ships, really sleek. They got guns protruding from their ships, and they're heading right towards the station. And then you see like a cutaway to one of the people inside. He's wearing, like a spacesuit, and he says, "Target acquired. Get ready. We're going to make sure that they remember us." And then the ships basically start heading towards the station. They open fire, and then we cut away to the credits. Opening of the show, Space Station Omega. We see rolling credits. We see Duran. We see Silas. We see Gloria, and other characters. And then we come back after commercial, and red alert is on for we're under attack. Space Station Omega is under attack. Duran, the focus is on the cameras, like in your face. Like, what is Duran doing right now? As these raiders have opened fire without warning, demands, or anything, just open fired on your station.
Well, I think Duran's trying to he's trying to like he's arguing right now, sort of with one of the like the top like sort of top brass of the station itself, arguing that like he should have emergency powers right now. He's trying to like argue this is not a coincidence. Raider like the Raiders attacking right now in such a way is like they are like these ones are aligned with the Republic somehow, and he's trying to like get like emergency powers to just to be in charge and like get and
Yeah,
it's a shouting match sort of, and the space official is probably
yeah. So if you don't mind, it sounds like this might be the first roll for the game. Are you good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're using your authority to command them to give you authority over what's going on here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they're not just going to give in because they still think that this is something that they can handle. So if you look on the notes page under the decision matrix, these are step-by-step sort of process. So you basically want to take over as being in charge here. Sounds like your goal. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do, this is just going to be a test, which means I'm going to roll 2d6. And then if I wanted to, I could spend some plot points and give them to you to use in a future roll to add or to increase the dice. So I'm basically going to roll, and there's a link at the bottom of that called Dice Roller, Roll for Party. And that's where we're going to actually make our rolls for this game.
So I'm sorry, where's the decision matrix thing?
Yeah, so if you go to the notes page, and it's next to the factions column. So there's the space name, station name, then and now, factions, decision matrix, and then right below that in blue is the link to the dice roller.
I'm not sure. Where like
here. I'll just put that into the chat window for us.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, there we go. Do you see that?
Yeah, I wasn't sure where something's being like I think I'm missing there's something I'm not quite seeing here because like you're mentioning decision matrix and I don't see where the faction thing is. So
on the notes tab next to the factions.
Yeah, so if you look at the tabs on the bottom of the spreadsheet, there's a personnel tab where we've been filling in our characters, and then there's a notes tab. And that's where the notes that we've been collecting have been put. And next to that is the decision matrix column.
like I'm seeing, I see I see maps and I see the SSO, but I don't see like.
On the spreadsheet, on the Google Sheets that we've been filling our
Yeah,
characters.
Yeah. Are you
I
on the
understand.
spreadsheet?
Sorry, yeah. So
Like,
to the,
oh, okay. I
below
see. It's at the bottom. Okay. I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, the tabs are at the bottom. Sorry. Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
And all right. Let me just. So, and we.
So are you at the roll for your party website?
Yeah, I got the role for your party.
Okay. Okay. So this is what we're going to do to assemble the dice pools for our rolls. And so given that this is a test, I'm going to be going first as the GM, and I'm going to be basically spending from my pool of dice that I have, my virtual dice, and I'm going to roll those, and that'll give you a target number that you're going to need to beat with your pool of dice. Okay? So what basically I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll one of my D6 and one of my D8, and then I'm going to hit submit. And I've got an 8 and a 5. And you can click on and move these, which will be important for us. So I'm going to move mine over to the right side. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at your character sheet, and we're doing a command action, resisted test command action. And what you're going to do is you're going to look and see which role is most appropriate or interesting for you to use here. It doesn't necessarily have to be the highest die type, but think about what, in terms of the fiction, what are you kind of using here to do this command action? And so it's up to you if you want it to be politician or soldier.
I think I'm definitely. Yeah, it is interesting because they're both sort of they're both kind of applicable here.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine since they're both applicable, it would be like he would be like trying to use both his experience as a soldier and as a politician to try and get through to this guy. But like politician, I guess I would go with the D10 just because it's the higher. So.
Yeah, so I feel like politician is the most applicable here because you're trying to get control of the decision making less than the strategic decisions at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you would, and we're just going to walk through this. So you're going to have your politician role, and if you are using diplomacy to affect whatever you're doing, you could add a d6 from that specialty. If not, that's fine. You are also by default going to be using a d8 from your background, your gruff politician for space station, right? And then you're going to look at one of your values and decide which of those values is most appropriate here. Or if you want to challenge one, we can do that too. But I think you're not challenging a value at this point.
Right. I think it would probably be power, which is the War Council gives me authority to oversee the military defense. So I think that makes the most sense here. So it would be like, so
yeah, definitely. And then so you currently have a d6 from your power, a d8 from your background, and a d10 from your role. So those are 3 dice. And then you look and see, are there any things in your relationships, sectors, or signature assets that would be helpful?
I don't. Well, so relationships, sectors, and signature assets. I don't think. Either sectors or signature assets. Relationships.
Is there anyone that you have a relationship that's directly affected by what you're attempting to do, which is to get command over the decision making right now?
I don't. I don't think so. So I think what we have right
Right.
now is
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, you would say, do I have any talents that would modify things if I were to use one?
Right. Okay. So I have. So yeah, I have.
You have what are we fighting for?
Hmm. Right. Okay. So
But that's with a deal action, and you're doing a command action, so it will not function in this capacity. So, so it looks like you have those 3 dice, right?
okay.
Yeah. So you go to roll for your party, and then you enter in a one in the D6, one in the D8, and one in the D10, and then you hit the submit button.
All right. I think I'm also gonna. I think I have to hit clear first because I see these dice already here.
No, you do not want to hit clear because it'll wipe away my dice.
Okay. Never mind.
Yep. What we can do is when you select your dice, you can delete the selected ones.
Oh, so I hit delete selected or
Nope. Right now, just enter in
okay.
your dice, and it should create your dice in a different color than mine. If not, we'll just keep them on the other side of the screen.
Oof. That's some low rolls.
I am not seeing your result. Let me refresh. Huh. I cannot see your dice. What did you get?
I got
What was that?
2, 2, 3.
2, 2, 3, but no ones, correct?
No ones.
Okay. So, all right. So your top highest would be a 5. And so one of the things that in this system is you're looking for things that are success of better than the target number, in which case you would want to have a 14 because I got a 13. 5 in addition, so 5 more than 14 would give you a dramatic success. So 5 or more under that would give you basically a dramatic failure. So
Uh,
it's kind of like a critical, like a 6 or less on a powered by the apocalypse roll. So this doesn't necessarily mean that you fail to get command. It just means that there's suddenly an unexpected and critical complication is involved. So what normally happens is that I would generate a complication from this, and given its nature, it'd be kind of severe. So here's what I think works for this. Um, you eventually do wrest control of command, but it's unfortunately takes a lot of time, and you're not able to get control in time to prevent the raiders from shooting up the outside of the station and getting your defenses up in time to defend itself. So the raiders effectively do like a flyby, shoot up the station, and then leave unscathed.
mm,
And so now you have a damaged ship that looks like it, or a station that looks like it can't defend itself, and you've got angry, frustrated people in the command and control center who have given you control, but not willingly.
all right. So
So what are you doing now that this has happened?
I'm probably like I'm probably just gonna like try and like this next smart like the smart thing to do would be to like try and like I imagine like there's like maybe there's other like stations or outposts and like I would have several things I would try to like send like a signal out to them like that
Mm-hmm.
there has been an attack and there may be future ones and like to sort of send a reinforcements and I would try and like
Right.
see if how much like get an assessment of the damage and try and like see like what is our options for repairing that damage and try like
Yeah.
and now I'm gonna like and assemble like what like shifts we have for defense, or I imagine we have at least some sort of fleets to
Yeah.
like to muster together and
So yeah. So you're like scrambling to like recover from that. So I feel like your character would take some sort of like emotional stress or something from the event. Does that make sense?
yeah, there is like it's extremely frustrating to see
Yeah.
like something that's
Yeah.
easily preventable, but no one
Yeah.
wants to work with you.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is on that stress box under status on your character sheet, put next to the D0, change that to a D6.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. And then down in the conditions box, which is in red, whatever emotional, frustrated or angry or whatever makes sense for you, put that in there to help define that. Perfect. So,
Sorry.
so in future conflicts, right? If you still until you get the stress cleared, you still have it, you carry it with you. So potentially I could use that for free against you in a future conflict if it makes sense. You could spend a plot point to use it to help kind of influence your what you're doing, but if you do so your stress goes up after that roll, so it would go up to a d8, but you can temporarily use it by rolling it into your pool. um, if you do get it healed off, and that's almost always through some sort of interaction with another player character, then you can, on the growth column under conditions, you could put a 1 there, meaning like when you're basically it's a tally. So if when you go to the growth at the end of the session or end of the game, you can use that to have additional modifiers as your character changes. Does that make sense?
All right.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so the alert on the station is going. We're going to cut to Silas. What do we see, Silas? Where is he, and what's going on with him?
So I think that Silas is I think as the red alert goes off, Silas is in a bar drinking his space whiskey. Space Bloody Mary.
Spisky.
Yeah. And the station is rocked by that attack that gets through. And he's like, how did they know when the patrols would be out? Gotta have somebody on the inside. And he downs his Space Bloody Mary and heads off towards the docks to investigate which of the new arrivals is possibly a infiltrator for the raiders. Like who's
Oh,
their inside man.
perfect. Everyone's guilty of something.
Yeah.
So yeah, we cut away. You show up. You're walking towards the docks, and a ship has just arrived. And the door opens, and out walks Gloria, Miss Fontaine, and she steps off, and she flashes Silas a smile, and pulls out her data pad and briefcase, and is directing the dock people to move some cargo. And she's like, "Hello, stranger."
Hey, you spot anything weird about any of the new arrivals? Like, I got a hunch that one of these people is working with those guys attacking us outside.
So she kind of looks at herself in the ship. So I'm under suspicion.
I think we know enough I think we know each other well enough to think that you're always under suspicion. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. I don't want that to ever change. So she pulls out her data pad and looks through it, and she's like, "Well, there is a captain from the Republic who docked a number of hours ago.
Okay, well, and he reaches into his pocket, pulls out his just sticker badge, slaps it on, and is like, right, well.
So she's notices that, and she says, "So you're only seeking justice part of the day?"
Everyone's got to take some time off, Gloria.
All right. We'll see you around.
Maybe I'm only doing it in an official capacity some of the time, though.
Okay. All right. Well, you good luck with that.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up. I owe you one.
She pulls up her data pad and like pulls up like with Silas account. Boop.
Spreadsheet. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So let's cut back to Duran. So like maybe this is a bit later, and you're getting like status reports about the damage and things, and you're talking to like the technicians, and you've got one of the people from the command and control is kind of still passively aggressively talking about how you're really not suited to be here in the background, because people are people. So what is Duran doing now? What do you think the next step is for him?
Well, we've been assessing damage. He's probably like, so like he's probably gonna like try and like he would probably try and like muster up like what the like there like assuredly there must be like maybe a like he's talking with technicians now. Maybe there's like the repair team, whatever, trying to get them sent out, and having like at least part of the fleet like covering them in case of another attack, that we don't lose our repair force. So there's that, and
no, it's great.
Yeah, and
okay, right. Yeah. So you're getting reports in and all that, and you get something. It's flagged for your eyes only. From one of the tech crews, because it's under. They believe that it might be military related. They're not sure. So basically, what the protocol is that the person in charge of that unit will wait for you to communicate or to visit with individually, separately, and then you get to make the judgment about what to tell the other decision makers on the station. But they've found something while they're down there that they think might be of importance for you to take a look more closely at.
All right. Then like he will finish like sending out like sending out orders and whatnot, and he's gonna like try and like meet with that person.
Okay. And let's see. Does Silas have any like stooges or anyone on the inside of the CNC that might be hacking anything for him, or is he not that kind of investigator?
I think that Silas's ways of investigating things is to pay a direct visit to this ship and demand access to it. Open up, official inspection. Like, yeah.
Sure. So, okay, well, to kind of bridge things for your two characters, I was thinking that maybe the tech guy who alerted Duran of this owes you a favor.
Yeah.
And maybe contacts you as well to let you know that there's something unusual that was discovered as they were doing like repairs and things on the ship after the raiders.
Yes, I like that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So yeah, you both show up, and the tech is in this sort of like evidence room, and he's got this small like pod container thing, and he's got like like gloves and stuff on, and like a scanner next to him. He's like, "Don't worry, there's no radiation." So like when you guys approach together on the same scene, is there like a usual sort of character interaction? Like how do you guys respond to seeing each other in this situation?
I think Silas is a sort of like a curt nod, like kind of, like
Hmm.
Upon seeing Silas, Duran's probably like.
Like Duran has different levels of sigh.
This is yes. This is one of the one of the big ones because like it's been a rough day already. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh God, I don't need you. I don't need you stirring up like any sort of like trouble or I do like I have enough on my lap. Please. Thank you. It's sort of like nothing is said, but that's the idea you kind of get from him looking at you.
yeah.
And he's wearing his Justicar badge too. So it's an extra special day.
I like the idea that the relationship is like, what problem are you going to drop into my lap? And Silas is like, well, it was already a problem. You just didn't know about it.
Yeah, like I get to like at the point like Duran's like, I don't want to know. So yeah, you go into so you go into the room, the door closes behind you for privacy, and the tech tells you that it looks like this pod was delivered potentially at the same time that the Raiders attacked the space station.
Mm.
Is there any way
Jo-
we know where it came from? Like,
Well, we haven't done a complete analysis yet. We wanted to get permission, and he definitely looks at Duran. Want to get permission before we tampered with it. We were going to take it to the R&D facility because we don't know if it will blow up or what's going to happen. So it's pretty well sealed. This is looking like some high tech stuff. We've not seen this before. We don't know if it's from the war or from something else. So we wanted to alert you, and he's not really talking to Silas because he wasn't really expecting you both to be here at the same time. But he does kind of glance at Silas, because now
Why
that
don't
you're
we just
here,
shoot
you're
it out?
here.
Why don't we just shoot it out the airlock into the sun?
no.
Hey.
There's a protocol to this. We need R&D does need to take a look at this. That's right. But like something like when you're talking when the techie's talking about that stuff, like he mentions like, oh, this might be from the war, and it's like there's no war. Get that defeatist mindset out of there.
I mean the police conflict,
There
whatever that was.
There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, sir.
But yeah. So he's gonna. So he's like, yes, we should probably get this to R&D. Yeah.
So he's like, he basically is like, okay, and then he's like looking at one of you to decide if you're gonna take it there or if he should take it.
What are you waiting for?
Okay. So yeah, he's like, very well, sir, thank you. And so yeah, he'll carefully pick it up and take it with him out. He'll leave.
Can I start to investigate who was behind leaving this here? Like, where did it? Like the sort of the human trail attached to this item.
Yeah.
Which I think, looking at the basic actions, would be a search, perhaps, like to locate something specific, to locate, whoever on this
Yeah.
station had a hand in bringing it in.
Yeah.
So, what do I do with this?
Do
Locate
you
a
have
D.
do you have a talent that is related to this sort of action?
So I do have casing the sector, fiction plus study action, I suppose. To make a potential complication known and change into an opportunity for a sector, or to create a new opportunity for my side. I think maybe that one. I have to admit, like my
So
my
I think
understanding of the interacting elements of Cortex is not
yeah.
quite there yet.
So that's okay. So I think you could use casing the sector on the location where the pod was delivered to, where the damage is.
Yep.
Like you're kind of poking around. That's what that talent is for. Yeah, and so you would basically roll with the study action and then decide which of the special effects make a potential complication. Yeah, so that would help you to identify evidence effectively.
Cool. So,
So let's cut away to you doing that if that works for everyone.
yeah.
Are there any parting shots or sighs from Duran?
The parting sigh.
Hey, listen, Duran. I'll take a look and find out, see what I can sniff out. Yeah. You want the report, or you want me to play this one close to the chest?
I've got enough on my mind. Play close to the chest.
All right. Don't ask, don't tell. Gotcha.
All right. So yeah, we cut away and we see Silas. There's a tech, walking nearby with him with like the lights and all that to make sure he doesn't trip on some shrapnel or something. And they've got people kind of in the background, like who are trying to do maintenance work. Are you shooing them out, or are you just going to kind of walk around them and examine things? Because they're definitely messing with the site to fix it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's more walking around and trying to, like have a look. So should I roll something?
Yeah. So we're just going to go through those steps again. And you're looking for evidence, I believe, of what's involved here, and then you just walk through your sheet, and so you're going to have your background 1d8. Now you can change any trait in this game to a 1d4 and get a plot point for it. So if you purposely want to get plot points and want to complicate things, you can do that. So the default for background is a 1d8, and then your roll, my guess is that you're going with adept. And then what value?
So I have adept D10, D8 from the default, and then what value? You mean like a belief? Because would that be the
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
which value? Duty, glory, truth, justice.
Truth, I think, is the right one here.
Yeah. And then if you have any specialties that are relevant, you can add in one of those.
I have analyze.
Yep. That's a D6.
So I have a D10, 2D8, and a D6 so far.
And then I don't think you have a relationship related to anyone here, and it's not one of the sectors.
No.
Yeah, so I would look at your talent, and that would be the main additional modifier there.
Yeah,
okay. So
I'm not sure how that would work in terms of.
Yeah, let me look at that. Let me see here. So you're casing the sectors. So you're doing a study action. So so let me list off some potential complications known, right? And if you roll, depending on how you roll, that can also change things. So there is debris. There's damage to the ship. That is one complication. There is the site of where the pod was found. The whole pod thing is another complication. And then we'll see if any additional ones are generated when you make your roll. But I have to roll as well. This is going to be a simple test on my side. And I have to figure out why I cannot see your rolls. Let me get this in here. Okay.
But that is my dice pool, right? Because that
Yep.
talent does not. So I have those 4 dice,
Okay.
which I will roll now.
Okay.
Cool. 6 is my
I
highest
still
dice
can't. Of 2 dice?
of 4 in total. 1, 6, 5, 2 was my results.
Okay, so you're 1, 6, 5, 2, so that's an 11, 6 and the 5.
Cool.
And then you got a 1. So that changes. I'm going to give you a plot point, so you can change that on your sheet to 4 plot points.
Okay.
However, you can use your move. Let's see here. Hang on. I need to roll still, and I wish that this would work. So I'm going to just roll some more dice, and we'll see. This is going to be 2d8. Okay, can you see what I rolled? A 2 and a 3?
Yes.
Okay, so this was the target number for that. You got an 11, which is, you got basically a dramatic success because it was 5 more than a 6 plus 5, 11.
Mhm.
So you got it. So basically what you can do is with your talent there, we definitely are giving you some great information. So this looks like a sophisticated what is that called? Infiltration pod, right? It's an advanced military tech that only a well-funded organization could potentially get. It's very expensive. And you believe that either the Republic or the Tarnished are responsible for this being here, based on what you found.
Okay. Am I able to activate my veteran with fiction plus 1 plot point to change a complication into an opportunity once per scene? And I would like to change that complication of it being from either of those 2 groups to being an opportunity that it is definitely the Tarnished and not the Republic. To say,
Yes.
I think the
Yes.
opportunity there is that it makes it more about what I care about rather than
Yes. Yes. And yes, you at first, first analysis, Republic, and then you're like, oh, wait, there's something about this, like the setup, like something reminds you, like the what you put together is that the attack was a cover for them to deliver this pod. Like they did not stick around to seriously damage the ship, and they were just lucky as all hell to not get shot at because of the situation on the bridge. But there was mostly cover fire to just deliver this, to get it into the ship, possibly to get it to somebody on the ship.
Cool. And I think that, it looks like it's the Republic, and then I bring up the serial code that's attached to it, and I see that it's attached to a missing Republic vessel that was captured by one of these war criminals. Like,
yeah, and even
I like the idea of the
think,
Tarnished by being like both sides, like one, like not just the Republic's war criminals, but also the Alliance's war criminals. Like,
yeah.
So like they're joined just by the Tarnish.
So yeah, so I think given how well that role was and everything, you get the name of someone who's likely the person behind the build of this, and they happened to now be a captain in the Republic, like the person who designed this model, not necessarily this specific pod, right? So you potentially have an expert on these pods on the station. Isn't that a nice coincidence?
Oh, lucky.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump back to Duran. So what are you doing now? It's been a little bit. You've taken care of the situation. You've handed things off to the inspector. The maintenance is on schedule. They report there wasn't any serious damage. Maybe they were just testing the defenses of the station, in which case that reinforces that you weren't ready in time.
Right. So for right now, tough to say. I say how like for how is like I'd say like maybe he tries to find out like about like maybe we sent out that signal. Has there been any response yet? Stuff like that.
Of other raiders and things.
No. Like we sent out a signal to like other outposts in the Alliance systems. Like we've been hit. Has there been like maybe a response yet? Like
Right. Yeah. So no
message.
one. Exactly. So no one else has. Yes, someone has responded asking if you're okay, but no one else has been hit by raiders recently. So they want to make sure that Space Station Omega is okay. Do you need support? That sort of thing. Do you need us to send in someone to help you make military decisions? Yeah.
I think what Duran would probably send back was for a message would be like station is lightly damaged right now. Is everything is like it's calmed down. Like maybe before it was like I don't know. Those like that scale of 1 to 5 and it's like if it goes to 1, it's like we're at war, and this 5, it's like we're at peace, no problems, and like
Sure.
it's I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's basically before it was like we were at 3 and now we've gone back to 4. Things are a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's
like DEFCON 4.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
And
right.
so like things are at the moment all right, and yeah, that's the message basically.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. They're happy to hear that everyone's okay, and just keep them posted. Yeah. Cool. So you've got an appointment on your schedule to meet with. Let me get the name in here. Get to the right sheet, and I'm just going to put this below the factions. I'm just going to call it GMCs. Okay. So Captain Rufus Dawes. So Captain Rufus Dawes is from the Republic, and he would like to meet with you, as a courtesy, if nothing else. He recently docked here about an hour or so ago, or actually, I think he docked like the other day, is what Gloria said. Can't remember, but he'd like to meet with you as one of the leaders of the space station.
All right. Yeah, so he'll go to meet.
Cool. All right. So yeah, he's basically in like a private meeting room waiting for you, and you show up, and he's in his dress uniform, and goes over, and I'm just going to say that this military does bowing instead of saluting or handshakes. So he bows at you and says, "It's a great honor to meet you. What was your military rank Like
Um,
what?
before I would say before becoming like kind of a politician, he was like say a a lieutenant, and then like you know was injured on the field of battle. So
Mm-hmm.
like so we like yeah, I would say like he still
So mhm. So
I
I feel like for someone to be in charge, at least in part, of a command station, they might promote you to say like a commander.
all right yeah
Does that make sense?
yeah
Yeah. So he'll address you, Commander Treed. It's an honor to meet you, and I wanted to inform you of my visit and to, see how things were going.
well as you saw we were hit by those by raiders. We're
Hmm.
we're still we're still trying to uh, ascertain what the objective of the attack was. The best guess we have right now is they were testing our defenses, in which case they found them non-existent at the current moment because of disagreements with the higher ups.
Well, hopefully that will be the only opportunity that the Raiders have against the station. This station is a symbol of progress. We don't really want a war. And he's asking in a way like, do we?
and it's like, of course not. This is I do believe there's a peaceful solution to any problem, and we just simply must, and we simply just we have to work for it.
Of course. That's what we're here for, is to work to create the peace by any means necessary. So it would be my honor, Commander, if I'm having a small gathering later this evening to celebrate the anniversary of the truce that I believe you were instrumental in creating.
It I played a small part. It's let's not let's not blow things out of proportion. I but I but yes, I would love to attend. It sounds like a lovely time. I could use a break.
That would be great. We look forward to seeing you tonight, and it gives you he throws over the information to your data pad or whatever. It's like be honored to have you there, but we understand if something comes up, duty is the highest priority and gift that a soldier can ask for.
Of course. I hope to be able to attend, and I hope to make your acquaintance again, Captain.
Thank you. So we'll cut from there and get a call to Silas on his comm link or whatever from the R&D facility. And they basically said, so technician, blah, 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 said he was going to be delivering, object A, and he never arrived. Do you know what his status is?
No, but I'll get back to you on that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And I think, you know what? Silas is going to open up his communicator, make an immediate call to Gloria. And,
Okay.
hey, Gloria, I got a missing
Silas?
package and I got a missing package and a missing person. We found this. You must have heard we found this strange part somewhere in the cargo bay.
So, which is more important, the person or the package?
The person.
Oh.
Okay, I'll get back to you. All right.
Cool.
So, what does Silas do in the meantime?
In the meantime,
Because
he is.
Duran probably doesn't want to know about this right now.
No, he definitely doesn't want to know about this right now. Like the embarrassment of us having it under station control and then it going astray in between one platform and another. Yeah, I think Silas is going to break into the technician's quarters and see if he can find anything incriminating or suspicious in there, effectively.
So, whose quarters?
The technician who's gone missing?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's not
If-
very good. I mean, he doesn't have very good security. You break in. Yeah. You can use your authority to get access. You don't even have to break it unless you want it to not be recorded on the logs. It's up to you. This is part of your investigation.
I can get Duran to sign off on anything once. If I find this, if I find out what this is, he'll roll his eyes and he'll shake his head about procedure, but it'll all be fine. He loves me. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get in there and you poke around, and your initial observation is that he hasn't been back here recently. Is there something specifically that you're looking for, or just gonna, or what?
Payments, like has he taken any?
like,
has he been paid any
okay.
money? Has he been getting any blackmail? You know what I mean? Like what
Okay.
evidence might link him to a wider conspiracy within here?
Okay. So yeah, well, have you make a study roll for that?
Cool. So that is a D8 for the study, a
Mm-hmm.
D10 for adept, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and a D6 for my analyze, perhaps, of this room. Like analyze whatever evidence I find within this room.
And
I
what
think
value are you going for? Truth?
Yeah, again, I go for
Or-
truth.
Yeah,
Or
either that, or if you do care about this person, love might be appropriate. It's up to you.
you know what? I'm going to go actually for tarnished because I know that they're involved, and I am going to go for my justice.
Okay,
another
good.
D10. So
Okay.
I need to add another D10 to that because I didn't think I would be
So-
rolling another D10 at any point.
So I'm gonna roll first. Okay. This is gonna be just another simple test, and submit that. And so I got a 1 and a 6. I cannot add the ones in there. You can spend a plot point and buy that off of me, and you'll get a D6 opportunity, which is the reverse of a complication. It's something beneficial, right?
Yeah, I will.
So you can wait till after you roll to see what you get too. But you're basically looking to beat a 6.
Cool. Well, I will roll, and then I'll probably spend a plot point because why not, right?
Why not?
I got a 12 as my success. Silas is good at what he does, guys. You know,
So if you buy that plot point, it'll go, because of your dramatic success, it'll go from a D6 to a D8.
Cool. I'll do that then.
Yeah. So on that evidence track that we're now creating on the notes page, I think that the pod one, I don't remember if that got stepped up. So that might still be a D6, but this next one on the technician would be a D8 opportunity. So what you can eventually do is, like, when you put together your investigation, you can roll these into your pool as assets.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what you find is that he has a lot of gambling debts. He's a really nice guy, but just keeps hoping to make it big, and the house always wins. And so basically, through the casino, through other related sources that Gloria might know, he owes some people, right? And so through these connections, it does look like a fair chunk of his debt has recently been paid off,
Cool.
like in the last hour or so.
Where'd you get your lucky break, huh? He says as he finds the. No, where did a loser like you get your lucky break, huh?
So you get a message sent to your palm. I'm thinking Expanse because you keep evoking Miller. And so your data pad, and you get a message of coordinates on the station.
Yeah.
And they're in like maintenance tunnel area. That's kind of like if the tech had left where he was when we were showing you the evidence, it's kind of between there. It's off the beaten track there and R&D, like kind of on the way.
Mm-hmm. But it's definitely not the route that he would have taken if he was.
If he was going directly to R&D, he would have taken the normal service hallways. Yeah.
Well, I think that is Silas's next place. He just texts back like, "Thanks, babe." To Gloria.
Sure. Yeah. And it's like there's like a counter for favors there, like an icon, and it ding goes up again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So we cut to you showing up there. I'm assuming you're by yourself, and it's poorly lit. The lights are flickering, of course. And you get there, and the audience sees, as you approach, what you see is about 2 feet off the ground, some feet, and then the legs, and then you look up and you see the technician. He's hanging by like a electrical cable that was pulled out and used around him, but we don't see the above the shoulders. And he's been dead recently.
Silas is going to look around and see if there is any evidence of the pod here. There's no pod. There's just a technician, right? So
no, it's clear gone.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like I'm just repeating myself in terms of like find evidence. You know what I mean? Like do this accuracy.
I do. Yeah. So let's cut from here. What is our
I tell you what I do.
doing?
I tell you what I do.
Yeah.
So, however, I look at it
What?
and I go,
What?
Joran is not gonna like this. And
Exactly.
Message, and I think this is when he goes up. Discreet message to Joran.
Okay. Yeah. What is that? What is that message?
I think that message is package missing in transit. Delivery man. DIA. DOA. And then maybe even say like the package has gone missing in delivery. The technician whatever has been tarnished. DOA. Full stop. And that's just it, you know.
So what does Duro say or respond to when he gets this message?
So so just to reiterate on something, the tarnish, they're
people from like both sides of the war who are wanted now for their actions during it. You know, like they've been disavowed by both both the Republic and the Alliance, and they are like wanted for like their the
Right.
for
War
flagging that
crimes.
refugee colony for whatever, right? Like just people who went too far on both sides, and perhaps like the disavowing of them was perhaps even one of the why we managed to get a treaty and the war didn't go hot. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I imagine the like.
in my
Well,
imagination, Aaron just goes, shit, and puts his phone back in his pocket.
yeah, Duron's like he's just gonna see this message. It's just like, and it's just so he's just gonna be like, he's just gonna give the instructions like just try like do what you can to find the like do what you can to find the pod, and he will but I imagine there's probably someone on the station who is like maybe someone who's there on official capacity as like a tarnished themselves. Maybe they like somehow like made some sort of negotiation or whatever, and maybe someone like that Duron could like try and talk to figure out how
Can I
try.
suggest a GMC for this? Like a
Yep.
so it'd be someone who's like reputation, like publicly, like officially, they're a like respectable person, like a businessman, an entrepreneur, like perhaps retired from one of these big factions, kind of thing. But unofficially, the word is that they are like connected to the tarnished, like, and in fact, they would be one of the tarnished if it wasn't for the fact that somebody else took the fall for their crimes, like somebody who served under them or something like that, like, and so, it's like that kind of like open secret that they're
So
there, you can't touch them.
is this person here? Did they make a deal with the station for asylum, or what are we thinking here?
Well, what it sounds like is he isn't technically tarnished himself, but
Mhm.
like everyone knows, like he did the crime. So it's sort of like technically he is a law-abiding citizen, but on the but like everyone knows
So
what's going on. So
yeah, so yeah, let me just see if I'm on the same page about something. So do you think that the tarnished themselves have bad feelings towards this person?
No, I think that they are. It's like a quid pro quo thing, like you take the fall for me, and I'll be in a better position to help you, kind of thing. Like you're already going down for your crimes. Why don't you just take my crimes as well, right? And then I get away with this, and I can be
Okay.
your guy on the guy who coordinating things publicly, kind of thing. Like the the safe middleman kind of thing. Like
yeah,
no one can touch me because I'm protected by our deal.
yeah,
Like,
maybe that's
Okay.
like sort of his sort of like he doesn't really doesn't have much like he's sort of like uses his position sort of like that's part of his business is helping
Mhm.
like the tarnished like sort of get like try to reduce sentences or whatnot or try to like or whatnot, and he has connections with a whole lot of tarnished, so that's why
Okay.
Duron's going to him.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. So you you're in his room in his office, and he's like, "What can I do for you, Commander?"
Oh, well, there there's been a bit of how do I want to I'm trying to figure out how Duron would lead with this because the there He's probably
No
what?
nonsense. No nonsense seems to be the character trait of Duron. So
Right.
I feel like he'd be undiplomatic about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
There's a
It's just
serious
like
issue on this ship.
yeah. The what? One of the tarnished have stolen something from me. I want to know who could. I want to know the tarnished who are here. I want to know who had the means to like. This was gambling debts, so I imagine he would say something like he would say like who who has ownership over like who would have ownership over the like maybe a casino on a space station or something or yeah, I guess basically that and like just I want their name.
So like because of the time that we have left, which isn't very much, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So like, what is ultimately what are you hoping beyond getting in to talk to the casino person or whatever? What is your end game here from talking to this tarnished person? What do you hope to get? Do you hope to get information on where the package is, or
basically I guess the well, I imagine like getting yeah, he does want to get that package, so that's like kind of the main priority right now.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So I feel like if we were able to place out, you would also potentially track down through one person or another. I feel like for the sake of the episode, that I feel like you want to make a deal with him. He's a deal maker, right? We established that. So we're going to have you make a deal roll with him and see who gets to be on top. Maybe it's fairly equal distribution. You want to know where the package is. And I think what he would want is he would probably want a little bit more breathing room for the tarnished, like less eyes on the tarnished, which would be in conflict with your inspector, right? Maybe even to kind of like shoo him away from any tarnished business. Does that make sense?
yeah, and
Yeah.
and maybe there's like maybe he hops and pops about it a bit because he's just like, if you think I'm ever gonna give leeway to like these fiends, you had another thing coming, but eventually he does come around on it, and it's just like so he's just like
Yeah.
fine, but
what I'm gonna do
it like
well, I'm
any
gonna actually yeah,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm going to actually have you do a deal action roll, since we haven't done that yet. So
Right.
what I'm going to do is I'm pull up. This would be like one of the big moments in the show if we were to do this. So I'm going to have a D8 and a D10. I'm going to roll those, and we'll see what happens.
Right. I have ambassador. So that's your PC is ready to make a deal, understands the situation, bring leverage to swing it to the other party at 1d8. So that's like
you can bring that in as an additional die to your pool.
Yeah, so like do I have to come up with a leverage
Yeah, so basically you just justify whatever that is. It could be like, this is like the safety and security of the ship, my authority here. It's fictional based.
Okay, so
yeah, like I don't see you as yelling at this person, but being very straightforward about the situation sounds right, I think. Right? So you're going to have your background, which is a D8, plus this ambassador talent D8, and then whatever role you think is appropriate.
Yeah, I think Paul Hmm. Well, it's yeah. So
If you
it's
think it's politician, you could use your diplomacy as well.
yeah. I think I would use politician. This
Yeah.
is a very
So it's a,
politicky thing.
yeah, that's a D10 plus a D6 for diplomacy. And then whatever value you think you're using.
Right. So and I think this is that's I'm having let's see for beliefs values it's
Mhm.
I feel like it's this is
Is this justice? I'm here to defend the station.
yeah, I suppose so. This is it like for right now we don't know what this pod is, so I guess we'll go with
Right.
justice. It could be a threat
Okay.
to the station. So
Yeah. So it's 3D8, 1D10, and 1D6, I believe.
right, okay.
Yep. And you'll have to let me know what you get.
I think so I need to like sorry, it's just that I rolled like with certain things were already in there and I didn't clear it, so I think I need to at least clear like
Yeah. Uh-huh.
my old
You can,
numbers. So
yeah, you can select them and then hit delete selected for those.
right.
Yep.
All right, let me try that again. So
Sure.
3D8, yeah, and okay, there we go. So that's 14, 20, 25, 26.
From okay, so what are the two highest dice?
The two highest are 2 7s.
Okay, so that's a 14. So not quite a dramatic success. What you can do is you can spend a plot point to add another die that's not a 1 to your result and get a dramatic success if you want.
Well, yeah, all right. I'll spend a plot point and get a dramatic
Yeah.
success.
And then did you have any 1s in there?
I did have a 1.
Okay. So I'm going to buy that from you, which will give you a plot point for a future roll. Right? Okay. So basically he informs you that the package he basically slides over like a fob, a tracking fob to give to you. Without really saying a whole lot. He's like, if you give me some more space, I think you'll find what you need right here. And he gives the fob to you.
All right, he'll take it as like it'll just sort of like sigh. He's like he's got nothing to say to this guy anymore. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
and he just like sort of he takes it and he just walks out. So
Sure. Okay. So the fob shows you as you compare it to the computer, station map and whatnot, that it is in the conference room where that reception for the anniversary of the truce was going to be.
ah.
And that's where it is, according to that. So we're running really short on time here. So let's kind of talk some of this out. We may not be able to play it as much, but would the two of you get together and consult about what you know at some point, or what do you think would be the most reasonable thing that would happen next for both of you?
Oh, I think we definitely get together and talk it out.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think
I was thinking perhaps like whatever's in that envelope and the details revealed, right? Gives us some reason why we have to play this very close to our chest, right? Like we can't involve other people. And so this is actually going to be
Mm-hmm.
one of those episodes where like two characters like team up to do something that is wildly inappropriate for the station head to be doing, right? Like, so now it's you know, like we're going to go and find this package wherever it is and get
Mm-hmm.
it back, like single-handedly. Like, we're not going to call for station backup, we're not going to inform anything, we're not going to file an official report, we're just going to go, me and you, the old warhorse, is going to get back in the saddle.
Awesome. So
Does that sound good to you,
yeah,
Sean? Like, as a
that sounds good to
yeah,
me. I like how that would.
yeah.
I would watch
So
that.
what you find out is that the package is set to detonate at the appropriate time, just as the reception was going to ring off, right? It's a bomb effectively. And that so do you show up and find it and jettison it, or try to deactivate it, or what? Are you trying to get in there like during the party or before the party starts? What does that look like?
I mean, I think that like high pressure, right? Like, it's got to be dramatic. So it's not before the
Yeah,
party. It's definitely during the party that we
during the
have
party.
to exfiltrate this
Yeah.
package from there.
Yep.
And
And
I think given that it's here, I don't think this would be like a place with like an external dock or anything, like an airlock that we can just shove it out of or anything like that. So I think it's a diffused rather than a thingy. And perhaps the reason that we have to do it secretly is because if this assassination device, you know, was discovered, this plot, it would call the entire truce into jeopardy, and the station would no longer enjoy its protected status because an act of war would have been perpetrated on here. So we have to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, you would take out the captain of the Republic who was here on a peaceful mission. Yes, it would look very badly. So I think what might be interesting is to have, and we can try the helping move with this, have one of you attempt to disable the device in the midst of this event. Who do you think would be up for that as the primary?
You know what? I'm going to go with Soldier Boy.
All right. Yeah. So
All right.
I think that, like, mechanically speaking, I'm probably the better character, but I like the idea of the soldier being the
Yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah.
explosives, I don't know explosives, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
So if Silas is the helper on this,
Mhm.
you could share a roll or a specialty die with him that would go into his pool. If you wanted to include it in his total, he'd have to spend plot point for one of those, like normal. So Silas, which roll or specialty die do you think would be helpful to Duran here?
my D10 adept would definitely be a useful one.
Okay.
So that's one
All right.
D10.
So I imagine that this device has been firmly attached to something, you know, in the room that can't just be moved out. Like maybe it's under like the back part of the table or a wall or something area. It's like, or underneath like the platform where the captain was going to give a speech. And so like you're under there, the two of you are under there maybe. And Duran, what does this look like for us to see you as this former military man now responsible for the lives of 250,000 people? You know, what do we see your character doing as he's saddling up next to this device, this military tech?
I would say it's you know, he's real cramped in there. You know, he's an old man. It's just like this is like he's just not meant to get in spaces like this anymore, and, and not enough room to even really like. It's like a real awkward position. It's like this half crouch sort of thing, and it's just the worst. And he's like, he is sort of like it's sort of like a he is in sort of a like sweating bullets sort of thing. it's been a long time since he's been on the line of duty like this, and he's just trying to deactivate the bomb. Maybe there's a sort of there's a pledge that when you enter the military like that, and he's just sort of like trying to he's trying to sort of not lose his nerve, sort of, and he's just like repeating the pledge
Right.
to himself, and that's how that's basically how he's trying to that's what's going on while he's trying to disarm this bomb.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So I'm gonna make my roll here, my final roll, and then you're gonna make a craft roll. You're trying to modify a piece of technology here. So I'm gonna, for free, I get to use one of your stress or trauma, and you have a D6 from earlier that's still in play. And then let's see, so one of those, and then I've got a D8 and a D10 for the situation, and then I'm gonna go ahead and roll that. Okay, so I can spend plot points too to add dice into the roll. I'm not going to. So I have a 12 as a difficulty here for you to beat.
All right.
Okay. So you have an additional D10 to add to your pool from Silas helping you.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see here. Oh, additionally, I think this might be appropriate. If you call on the captain who would be there, who's the one holding the event, he was an expert on these pots. He could give you a D10 as well.
All right.
If you want to let him know, hey, we need your help. So he would be happy to help you, obviously.
Yeah. He might call him
he's because he's like the target of the assassination.
Yeah.
So you have 2 additional D10s from helping for you to add to your pool.
All right. And I think with this is there I think definitely for so I have a talent, with the ambassador thing. I think it's there's something about or spend 1 plot point to temporarily use one of your own stress to get conditions or complications. I'm not sure how this works as an opportunity at its rank or acid or trait. So it's spend 1 plot point.
Yeah, so you can basically spend a plot point. This is a modification of the general stress use that I mentioned before. So as the ambassador, you can spend a plot point to temporarily use your stress, which is your D6, as an opportunity. So it would be as a D6 per scene, and then you step that stress up. So after the scene, it would go up to a D8 stress. But so you can use that, and you can add that into your pool as a D6.
Okay.
So it's up to you. What we can do is you can roll, and then if there's anything else that you want to spend a plot point on, you can either to include another die into your pool, or to add another die result to your total, or just spend it on this. We can wait till after your main roll if you want.
All right, so I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, and I think my justice belief is my justice value is because I want to stop the war, and this is literally about stopping the war right here. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
and so I'll put that in there. I have 2d10 because 1 from Silas, 1 from the captain, and let's see. I'm trying to see what else do I have that could help here.
Are you using your soldier for your role?
I think it would have. Yeah, I think it would be soldier.
Yep. Okay. So you have your background D8, your soldier D8, and then you've got 2d10 from help, and then oh, do you have a beneficial or complicated relationship with Silas?
I have the complicated relationship with Silas.
Okay, so you would roll a d4 into this as well, because you're working with him.
All right, that's it.
And that might be it. And then we can see if you spend plot points on anything else.
Right. Let me just.
Yeah.
I just want to do
Yeah.
a quick glance over talents here.
Yep.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think either of these could really be all that helpful in this situation, other than I mentioned the Abbasses were one before. So yeah, I think. Oh, I have a field agent as my signature asset.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
how would that be helpful here?
well, my field agent, like when I pick that, I imagine it's like they're sort of they're also like a I'm not sure. Maybe like maybe they're they've like
They've stayed in training, like they're active kind of thing. Like they expect that they might be able to, like they might be a politician, but they're also like in theory here to maybe do some actual work. So you're still trained.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you're up to date.
as long as they're assisting you in some way and you can bring that in, that's fine. So if you want to bring that in, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So that would be another D8.
Yep.
Because.
Yep.
So that's all right. So I got 3d8, two, one from my belief or value, one from my roll, one from the signature asset, and one d10 from what?
Right, you're going to have a fourth one from your background.
Oh, okay. Okay, so 48.
Yep, 48, 2d10.
And
yeah.
Yeah. So
it's pretty good odds for you.
Oof. Okay, so I got the two
and
highest.
Don't forget you also roll a 1d4 for your relationship with Silas.
Yeah, I rolled that.
Okay.
Okay. So I got the two 8s were the highest, and they were both 6s. So and I had to pass a 12, right?
So if you get a 12, there's like an interruption or stalemate sort of status. Do you have any ones?
I do have a 1. I have two ones.
And okay, so if I spend a plot point for that, I can turn that into a D8 complication, right? What other dice amounts do you have?
I have 2 1s, 2 2s, and a 4, and the 2 6s I mentioned before.
So if all you're looking for to cross the bar of success is to get a 13, so if you spend a plot point and add one of the, not any of the ones, but one of the other ones, you'll get there. And it will look, because it's not a dramatic success, it'll look like by the skin of your nails sort of thing.
All right. Yeah, I'll spend a plot point.
Yeah. So you add that to your total, and that could either be just by adding a value, or you could simply add in that D6 stress and roll that die and see what you get from your ambassador. But that's not guaranteed to, that might be a 1. So it's totally up to you how you want to see that. But you definitely succeed, just like barely, right? Like at the last moment before the package explodes, killing, a quarter of the station. And so you stop the explosion. Some people in the crowd that were watching turn and run because they were witnesses, even if they're going to die. And so you're basically going to capture the people responsible, which were infiltration from the Tarnished. They wanted to really get this war up and going again. So everyone is very happy that you succeeded in saving them. So let's just do a quick sort of like closure scene on your characters following the events. It could be right after, like if you want to say something on the spot, or if you want it to be in the future, like where do we see your character and what's their sort of closing final scene for the episode?
Well, I think that Silas's is very definitely like just patting as the thing is deactivated. He just pats Duran on the back and is like, "See, whatever falls in your lap, I know you can handle it."
You're gonna be the death of me, Silas.
Not if you carry on doing things like that.
That clip, you're going to be definitely will definitely be reused at the beginning of another episode.
Yeah.
Sure. Anything else from Duran? Do we see him saying or doing anything?
I can picture like that. Like for him. It's sort of like he's just picturing like maybe like there's a like if this was like a setup for the next episode or something like that, I could see that like, and it's maybe we have like maybe like there's like maybe like there like they send an ambassador from the Republic, and it's like sort of like trying to send like a sort of like terms or what or terms or something that's like like a surrender or whatever or some sort of demands, or else we will attack, maybe something like that.
Oh, so it's still continuing on the potential war.
Yeah, no, this was just like this is just one. This was just like I'm sort of thinking of this as like the war is inevitable, but like how long can we hold this off?
Awesome, that's great. So to try to be a little respectful of Will's time, thank you so much for staying after. Thank you both for playing. I just very quickly, and I know that the creation, especially online, takes a while, and I have some ideas about that. But I do want to thank you both for going through and testing some of the new material that I have there, and I think it's been awesome. So if there's anything like feedback or highlighting anything, I know this isn't Star Wars Saturdays where we do Stars and Dreams necessarily, but I'm still going to borrow that. So is there anything that you want to point out that you thought was great, or you want to see more of, or something else that you think would be helpful for making the game even better for the future?
So I really have to go so that I can get some food in before my game in 10 minutes. But
Sure. Yep. Okay.
I think that this would be. I think that Cortex is quite crunchy to do all of the setup, and I know it's not crunchy in like the old school version of crunchy, but there's a lot of dice mechanics, etc. Like things that don't make sense until you've played it, right? Like it wasn't until the very end where it clicked to me, and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense," you know.
Good.
But yeah, definitely like would love to play like a 4 or 5 part of this, you know. And as a one shot, I do think the pre-gens or at least pre-gen stations would go a long way in terms of doing it. It was great to play with you again, Sean.
Yeah, it was good to play with you.
And David, I hope I get to play Bounty of the Week sometime soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Later.
Take care.
I'm fine with recording going up. It's all good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sean, do you have any closing thoughts?
I'm gonna I will reiterate kind of Will's thoughts. This was very like the setup was it was like a little bit, it was a little rough. I just have a hard time like figuring out new systems just in general, but it did take a while for a one shot. I'm pretty sure we set up more than we actually did end up like playing, you know. So it's like that's something that like probably like definitely for like, you know, obviously for longer campaigns, like setup like this
Mhm.
wouldn't matter much. For one shot is definitely like we'll need to like it's something like you mentioned pre-gens or something like that. That could definitely
Yep.
work
Yep.
much better for this is one thing.
Yep.
I liked but first, we're going with the stars and dreams thing. I do love I love like little political thriller stuff like this and whatnot. So I would like in terms of dreams, it's like this would be like a cool thing to like in terms of dreams. Like I would love to see how this we're sort of talking about like it's a show. I would watch this show, and see how it turns out. What like how these people are tested and like when like the war comes and whatnot, and so that would be cool. As for like stars, I liked the relationship to like Duron and Silas had of just like they are helping each other and whatnot, but Duron's just like it's sort of like it's like Silas, I know you're always trying to help, but every time I run into you, there's a huge heap of shit just piled on my lap. It's like every you're every meeting is a foreshadowing of like just the worst to come, basically.
But you always manage to pull the success out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, well, thank you again, Sean, for playing in this game. I really enjoyed you and Will and your characters, and yeah, definitely I've gotten a lot of good feedback and a lot of good thoughts for future versions of this, and I'm definitely going to steal some of the ideas that you both created here for future stuff here. So
Awesome.
yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of the weekend.
Yeah, you too. Have a
Thanks
good
a
one.
lot. You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.